Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our session today, all about more great uses of AI for Rotarians. Just want to share some fantastic new tools and opportunities that can help you support your Rotary Club with lots of different great new technology that's available. It's a really exciting time. So what we're going to do right away at the start is a little icebreaker for you to get into your breakout rooms, to answer a couple of questions and get to know a couple of other people who are in the community. Hopefully you meet somebody from a different place, but somebody you don't know yet, and can start a new friendship and a new connection. So the questions for your breakout room for the icebreaker are very simple. It's going to be, which AI have you used in the past? Which tools have you used, especially if you've used them for supporting Rotary events or Rotary work? And what have been some of the best results that you have achieved by using AI? We'd love you to answer those questions. We're going to put you into teams of 3 because 3 is the magic number. We're getting a few answers coming through the chats. So some people are using ChatGPT. Poe is one of the big ones in Hong Kong, POE, that is free and available. And of course, yeah, you say not available, you might need to use a VPN, something I'm going to share about. To be able to access certain AI tools. I'm currently in London, so I'm very lucky that a lot of the tools are available for me, but I do recognize that Hong Kong does not have necessarily all the tools available without a VPN. But I highly, highly recommend getting a VPN to use. So PDG Ada has used AI mostly for translation. This is fantastic because you got this wonderful, if you have an AI tool in your pocket on your iPhone, you can talk into it and it will translate beautifully. Ada, which is there a specific tool that you use for translation?
No, I just use the POE one.
Yes.
And obviously, after the translation, you still need to really go through it yourself. And especially with Rotary, you have a lot of terminology that, you still need to. And also, I think I found some of the word they use a little bit exaggerate sometimes. Sorry, I use
AI
that
is
word.
very enthusiastic.
Exactly. You know what I mean. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. It will go full on and go. It's like a young kid really trying to impress you with some of its answers sometimes, and you're
Totally
like, "Calm
agree.
down, AI, calm down." Love it. Thank you. Great example, Ada. Yeah, translation tools have improved enormously. We used to always use Google Translate, which was a bit mama day, and it has improved enormously now with Poe's great, ChatGPT, especially 4.0. The translation is very, very good indeed. And I'll be sharing a couple of the tools that I like to use. Yes, so I can see translation for the DEI newsletter, absolutely. AI chatbots and mostly ChatGPT, great stuff. But there are lots of alternatives to use. You can choose your favorite AI. Here's a few of them. I would definitely check out to see whether or not they are available in Hong Kong and able to be used. Google's Gemini, very easy to sign up for, just with a Google account and free of charge. The basic version free of charge. You can pay for an advanced version. Copilot.microsoft.com is also very good, and obviously is very, very similar to ChatGPT because obviously Microsoft owns a very large percentage of OpenAI. So of course it is. And then of course you just go directly to ChatGPT. I can recommend using a paid account. It just gives you faster responses, it allows you to use, to deliver more prompts to it. And with an enterprise account, for example, you can sandbox all the information that you give it, so it will not use that information for training the AI, which gives you an extra level of security as well. So Hi, Richard asking a question. Which AI could I use to translate voice from one language to another? If you download the ChatGPT app, it does a fairly good job. I think in Hong Kong, most people are using P-O-E, for translation. And again, Microsoft Copilot.microsoft, or the Copilot app is also another tool that you can use for translation. You can talk into it and then ask it to translate to a different language, and they do a pretty good job. So you choose your favorite AI. I'm sure you have one. In Hong Kong, to access some of these different tools, I haven't tested out to see which ones are accessible and which ones aren't, but you may well need to use a VPN. If you use a VPN, then almost everything is going to be fully accessible. So NordVPN, ExpressVPN, CyberGhost, there's lots available out there. There's some that are free of charge. I highly recommend using one. It can also help you with your security as well, and just means that people cannot trace you online. So a few things to note. I think as some of you mentioned, as Ada mentioned, ChatGPT and other AI is extremely enthusiastic at giving the right answer. However, it can be incredibly enthusiastic and positive, but also give you a very wrong answer as well. So do be careful. We do need to double check. Of course, there was that recent case of lawyers in New York who filed certain cases using AI, and of course, those AI cases were bogus. ChatGPT had just created them, and so they got a big fine. So we do need to be careful and do verify and do double check. It tends to be that AI is great at creating a really good first draft of whatever it is that you want to do, but we do need to make sure we're using human eyes. We're doing a sanity check. Whenever I do any work, I also send it to my team members as well, just to double check, because obviously there's things that you don't see or mistakes that can creep in. So do keep the double checks and your own personal editing whenever you create any documentation. Watching for security as well. Don't give it any of your IP, especially if you're using an unpaid or free AI account. There was a recent case at Samsung where some of the engineers copied and pasted some of their latest code for debugging. The AI did a fantastic job of debugging the code, but then anyone who asked for Samsung's latest code got the code because it had used it to train the rest of the AI. So it meant it became public domain. So please be aware of data security. I highly recommend do not use individuals' names, personal data. As with anything on the internet, be vigilant and careful about the information that you give it, but also be aware that paid subscriptions do read about them in detail, but they often give you highest levels of security, and you can turn on what's called a sandbox, which allows you to keep all of your information safe, and it does not use it for training the AI. When you are generating prompts, and I'll talk a little bit about prompt engineering, this fantastic new term, which is all about how to ask AI effectively for what you want. Obviously, the more details you give the AI, the better it will deliver on the prompt. And I do recommend experimenting a little bit with the information that you give it, what you input. Many times the AI, when you make a request to the AI, especially if it's quite a specific one, this will actually be the first ever time that it's been requested for that specific answer. And so it will become generating something quite new. It will do a little bit of research out in the web, and then it will come back to you. The more you ask and the more questions you give it on that same topic, the more research it's going to do, the more it's going to collect information from different sources, the better the answer will get. So I have noticed that a lot of people will give up relatively quickly on AI because they ask it a question. It doesn't do exactly what you wanted it to do, and you go, oh, that's rubbish, throw it out the window, go do something else, go Google it instead. I would say it is much, much more effective if it's used iteratively and you keep asking in perhaps different ways, adding different information into your prompts. It will often get much, much better results. And also be aware AI is evolving. I've been working with AI now for over a year. And a year ago, the quality of the answers was quite variable. And over the past few months, it has really improved enormously. So if it can't give you exactly what you want today, perhaps come back in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, and try again, because it may be completely different. I've seen the evolution, particularly of the image generation, for example, has improved enormously. A few months ago, image generators would have people who looked a little bit like vampires. All the teeth were very sharp, and everyone would have 4 pairs of hands and lots of extra fingers. So now it's much, much better, the quality of the images that are generated. So do go back to it if you haven't given it a chance for a little while. I asked the group, the pilot group, what are some things that you might like to work on with AI for your Rotary Club? And one of the requests that came back to me was generating a memorandum of understanding between your Rotary Club and another organization. And I felt that was quite a nice one that we could start with. So in terms of generating a prompt, how do we generate a high quality prompt in this case? Well, I asked ChatGPT to help me on what information it would like to have in order to be able to generate a better quality memorandum of understanding for a Rotary Club, and this is what it came up with. So really important that we don't just say, please generate a memorandum of understanding between my club and this organization, because if you do that, it's going to give a very simple answer. It might give a nice template, but you're going to have to plug in lots and lots of information. So what we need to give it is a fair amount of detail. For example, the purpose. What's the goal of this particular memorandum of understanding? Be specific about the parties involved. What are some of the terms and conditions that you would like to put in? Duration renewal terms, effective date termination clause, etc. And that will allow the AI to deliver a much more detailed and effective document for you. So here's an example. If you just put in create an MOU for our Rotary Club and a local school, if you notice the response here, there's lots of blanks. And you might prefer that. You might prefer it just to give you a sample template where you can fill in the blanks, perhaps because of privacy concerns. And that's absolutely fine. But of course, if you feed it with a lot more detail in terms of the exact purpose, exactly what you need it for, the duration, etc., it will give you a much better response. So for example, here is a much more detailed prompt. And we've got a little bit of background noise. So if you can just mute, especially if you've sort of got kids running around in the background, that would be great. So a much more detailed and effective prompt would be draft an MOU for a partnership, Rotary Club of Hong Kong Island West and St. Paul's Co-Educational College, outline the terms and conditions, detail the responsibilities of each party, etc., etc. And what's interesting is that you can actually ask ChatGPT or another AI, what information do I need to give you in order to create a really effective and detailed memorandum of understanding, or whatever the document is that you're looking to generate? And it will list out for you, please give me all this information, and then I will be able to do it myself. Then have a think, do you want to give that information to the AI, especially if you're using a free version, and therefore the information will go out into the world? or do you want to keep it confidential? And just keeping in mind that, yeah, there may be certain confidentiality that is important to the groups that you work with. Okay. So if you do the detailed prompt, here is the response. It has created a very nice, detailed, multi-page memorandum of understanding, which you then can read through in detail, work out, does that work for us? What works, what doesn't, cut, delete, change. You can also ask, instead of editing it yourself, copying and pasting it into Word, which also would work, you could also ask ChatGPT to edit it as well. And you can just say, please make these changes. I tend to find that talking to AI in the same way as you talk to an intern, who's kind of new to your organization or company, tends to be the best way. Thinking about what are all the details I want to add, what are the specifics, to somebody who's really new to your organization, relatively young, super keen and enthusiastic, as AI always is. But what level of specificity would I have to get to make sure this person who's writing down all these details is going to need in order to be able to deliver exactly what you need. So MOU was one request. Another way to work with ChatGPT, especially if you've got 4.0 or if you're using Microsoft Copilot, I know both of them have this capability, is you have this rather lovely clippy button that you can press, which means it will allow you to upload a document. So for example, you could upload a previous template, an MOU that you used with another organization, for example, and it can even be in PDF. Interestingly, AI is able to read PDF documents, PowerPoint, Word documents, and you can now upload photos, documents, all kinds of files to AI. It will read them in detail, and then it will generate a new version for you. You could say, update this memorandum of understanding, but for my Rotary Club and this organization, and it will do a very good job, just as an intern would. If you gave an intern, here's a template, update it with this information, it just makes life so much easier because it knows exactly what you want, how you want it, and it will use all of that lovely technical Rotary language that we have come to know and love and might also need translated back into English. Excellent. In which case, if you are uploading a template, you're going to change your prompt slightly to something much simpler. Please update the memorandum of understanding to be between Rotary Club XYZ and Barnfield Riding School, from the dates from this date to this date, for example, and then it will go and change that document for you, and it will punch it out in an editable format, and you can copy and paste it and put it into a Word document and edit from there. One thing that was requested was also event marketing. So really good tools, AI tools now to generate event flyers, for example, social media banners, volunteer recruitment posters, if you need those, charity event invitations, even a project highlights collage that it can put together for you. I actually used ChatGPT to generate these images, and it's done a fairly good job. But if you do look a little bit closely, sometimes the writing is not quite perfect. And it does get spelling wrong. It gives a kind of, it looks pretty good from afar. But ChatGPT is not the best image generator. I would recommend a few other tools. So for example, for event flyers, Canva is a really nice tool. There are free versions, there are paid versions. And one thing that's really nice about Canva is that if you sign up and you tell them that you are working with the Rotary Club, it has a non-profit version of Canva for you to use. It doesn't have all the latest bells and whistles, but it gives you a much better version than if you are just using a free personal version. And Canva is one that many people like because it gives you some nice suggestions and examples as well. For social media banners, Vista Create is a nice tool. And I will copy and paste all of the links to these tools into the chat in just a second, so you can have the direct links. For posters, particularly volunteer recruitment or any other Rotary posters that you might be creating, Poster My Wall is a really nice AI tool that you can use. It can give you some really impressive ideas, color schemes, layouts, and it will, the ones that you like, it will then generate more of and give you some suggestions as well. For charity event invitations, Visme is great, and for project highlights collage, Photor is a really nice tool as well. And as I mentioned, they have, all of these tools have upgraded versions if you want to pay for them. However, they do have a free version as well, which is quite effective and can give you a lot of the capabilities without having to pay a lot of money and generate a subscription. So I've just added some of those tools into the chat, and also let me add the links to the AIs that I like to use as well. Okay. So in terms of other use cases for Rotarians, an example that was requested was a community needs assessment. Now, I find with longer documents and documents that need perhaps a bit more research to go into them, you need to use multiple steps when you're using any AI in order to help generate this. It won't be able to, with a very simple prompt, create a community needs assessment for Sai Wan Ho in Hong Kong for the Rotary Club. You give it that prompt, it will go away. It will generate a fairly simple template, but there will be lots missing in that template. It won't go and do the entire job for you. So let's have a look at this. So here's what it's gone and generated, which is not bad. This, and again, this is using ChatGPT 4.0, which is the latest version, and it is with a paid subscription. So the quality may be a little bit higher in terms of what I can get it to generate. But if you look here, for example, it's created a nice template, but there are quite a few things that are missing. For example, demographics, population. It says insert latest population data here. It hasn't done it for you. So this is why this document generation would be multiple steps. You would need to go back into it, and you would need to then add more detailed prompts and ask it again and again to add in more details each time. So you're probably going to end up with perhaps 10 additional prompts where you get it to fill in. If you look at the key findings, number 1, education, current situation, it says insert findings about local schools education. There's lots of insert here, insert here. It's gone and it's given you a simple template, but it hasn't done all the work for you. You're going to have to ask it again and again to fill in those details. So can you give me data regarding the population of Sai Wan Ho? It will go away. It will say, okay, I've found the 2021 census. Sai Wan Ho approximately has this population, males to females, 18,000, age distribution, etc. Obviously, you can do a bit of a sanity check. Sai Wan Ho, 18,000 seems a bit small. It's quite a big, it's a fairly big district. You can obviously Google to double check, especially when it's coming up with numbers. Do verify and double check. But it's going back into that document that it's created and getting it to specify lots of detail. Don't expect it to create a perfect version with one simple prompt. You are going to have to prompt again and again. So that would be a community needs assessment, for example. Another use that I have recently found valuable for my work with our Rotary Club, and particularly our Interact Club, is with risk assessment. So I recently discovered, with running our Interact Club and looking after a group of teenagers who don't necessarily always follow the rules and what they're told to do, is that actually we need to do a risk assessment for every Rotary or Interact event in order to be insured. So our Rotary subs obviously give us some great insurance, but in order for that insurance to be activated at any one of our events, we have to have run a risk assessment. And this is where AI is fantastic, because a risk assessment will be very detailed, very long, very boring if you were to do it yourself. Great to have the support of AI to help you, especially with a very specific event where you've got lots of moving parts. It will give you a really nice risk assessment. So, for example, our Rotary Club recently went to paint Barnfield Riding School for the disabled. We painted their fences and some of their furniture. So I asked AI to generate a detailed risk assessment for an Interact Club event with 6 teenagers and 2 supervising adults to paint the fences and outdoor furniture of Barnfield Riding School in Kingston upon Thames for 3 hours. And we've purchased the fence paint, aprons, goggles, gloves, and paintbrushes for all participants. So that's my prompt. And because it's a nice detailed prompt, it has come up with quite a nice detailed risk assessment for me. So it's put in the event details, and it's added in risk assessment chemical exposure. It's given the severity of the risk, likelihood, what are the control measures that we could use. So it's a great tool for me to then kind of go, okay, hang on, what do we need to make sure that we've got? I can then forward this risk assessment over to Barnfield Riding Stables as well, so they can just have a double check and they say, actually, we've got a first aid kit on site. We have first aiders who are trained, so that's covered. Brilliant. They are going to be available. And it goes into quite a lot of detail. So injury from tools and equipment, slips, trips and falls, environmental risks, adverse weather conditions. It absolutely chucked it down on the day that we decided to go and paint this riding school. Actually, the second time we went to paint the riding school, and a lot of our hard work got washed away. We were very upset. So we really should have checked the weather in advance. It said it was going to be fine. It's England. It doesn't play ball necessarily, and it absolutely tipped down. We could have spray painted some of that wood. No, it's like high pressure jet washed the wood with the amount of rain that we had. But all good fun. So really nice for risk assessment, and can come up with some things that you perhaps wouldn't have thought of. And obviously, risk assessments, I think, really make people shy away from running events, because it is a lot of work and it's detail, and it's a big long document, and some people will be very, very risk averse in your Rotary Club, and they will say, we need a very detailed document, and AI is a great way of keeping the detailed people happy. And also a good way of curbing some of the more risk happy people from doing things that are too high risk, because they've got a good guideline to follow. So what else have I put in here? Oh, I just want to show you some photos of us painting Barnfield Riding Stables. This was in the first time that we went. We put all the equipment together. We realized that we bought some thin plastic aprons on Amazon. That was a mistake. They flapped up and they kept getting, the wind would take them, and we kept paint on our faces. So we upgraded for the second session. We got some nice proper some canvas style artists aprons for the next session. But here we are that was a beautiful sunny day that we had for painting all of the fences and some of the furniture, and the team did a really good job. So I just wanted to share that one with you. In terms of using AI, I would highly, highly recommend that you begin to use AI more in your life in general. And my job is helping train people, largely using AI as well as lots of corporate training programs. I am doing my best to add AI into my life in sort of an everyday kind of way, and thinking about what are some things that I could do that could be a nice, interesting use case for AI. So my kids and I were visiting Peterborough Cathedral up north in the UK. And we were having a look round and we came across the header stone in this cathedral. And a lady popped up out of nowhere and said, "Ooh, you're interested in the header stone." And she started sharing. She was super enthusiastic. And she said, "Look, this header stone is 1,200 years old. And people would come from far and wide to come and look at the header stone. There would be pilgrims who would travel days and days and days and days to come and visit the header stone. It was one of the keys to the monastery that was built on the foundations of where Peterborough Cathedral now stands." And I looked at the header stone and I was like, it doesn't really look that great, right? So why would people come from far around? So I thought, ooh, this could be a good case for AI. Let's see what it can do. So I happen to have ChatGPT on my phone, and I asked it, what would this have looked like when it was new? And it starts giving me all this detail. Well, it would be fresh stone, and it would have all this ornamental painting, and it would have gold gilding. And I was like, right, AI, come on, show me. Make an image. And it did this. And I was like, wow, that's not bad. If I was in the world 1,200 years ago, and I was going to spend a week walking to Peterborough Monastery, that could be worth it, because that's like, us going to Machu Picchu or somewhere really cool now and going like, oh, that's amazing. And you would imagine that people would be like, wow, that's incredible. They would have a sense of awesomeness and the power of God and the church and everything else, and just travel from far around if it looked like that. Not so much if it just looks like kind of the ruined stone that it is now. So anyway, that was a simple case of sort of looking around and using AI. And this is where the fact that you can upload anything to AI now, you can upload photos and PowerPoints and anything like that, and you can get information back, means that you can do requests like this. So if you're walking around your world and you see something interesting, take a photo of it, send it to AI, ask it a question, it will give you a great response. And you can even do things like asking it to change this image to something else, update it. But I thought that was really cool. All right, another tool that's super cool, and I'm going to try and demo this for you, is an app that is available on certainly the iPhone. I think it's also Android as well, but it's called Pi. Pi, your AI assistant, which you might want to download. I really like it. It's great, really, especially for people who like to talk into your AI and get answers back. So let me see if I can showcase it here. It wasn't working earlier on, but if I talk into it, let's see what answer it comes up with. Hi, Pi. I am currently delivering a presentation talking about how to use AI in the Rotary Club to a group of participants from all over the world. What ideas do you think I should add into my presentation?
Hello again. Here are some additional ideas that might be useful to include in your presentation on using AI in Rotary clubs. 1. Smart matching for mentorship programs, or AI can analyze member profiles and match mentors with mentees based on their skills, interests, and goals. 2. Automated language translation. AI-powered language translation can help facilitate communication between Rotarians from different countries, fostering international collaboration. 3. Predictive resource allocation. AI can analyze community needs and help optimize resource allocation for service projects, ensuring that projects have the greatest impact.
Okay. I like it a lot. It's kind of fun, especially if you're on the go and you want an answer. It's like a super smart version of Alexa. It's like what Alexa should be. Alexa just gives shockingly inaccurate answers most of the time, but I'm sure they're going to update Alexa as well. So Pi, the AI assistant, is great. You can also choose different voices and with different accents. And what's really nice about it, if you noticed, it actually uses breathing and some ums and ahs and pauses to sound far more natural. It sounds super realistically human, much better than some of the other AIs, which sound a bit robotic when you talk to them. So that's one of my favorites, and it's free. Now, what are some other capabilities? For example, you can now generate AI music videos. So there is a tool called suno.com, which is fabulous at generating songs. I'll showcase that for you in just a second. Once you've generated the song, which has all the music and all the backing and everything else based on your prompt, you can then go to one of the image generation tools like microsoftdesign.com, generate some images using the lyrics from the song. And you can then go to a website such as lumalabs.ai, which actually generates video based on prompts. So you can cut and paste the same lyrics into the prompt, plus add the images that you like from Designer, and that will then generate a video. You then edit the videos together, add the music as the backing track, and it will create a music video. It is pretty cool. This is what I'm really excited about, is when you use multiple AIs together to make something really magic. And
first machine, clips and bloops, the early scene, binary dreams, code so clean.
Everything you see is generated with AI. Everything you hear is generated with AI.
Silicon dreams, they never sleep. Internet waves so deep, browsing wide the net we sweep from the past.
Pretty impressive examples. Really nice to see how the capabilities have developed with AI. Let me just also I'll just showcase to you Suno, just how we can actually generate songs, because it's really nice to be able to generate a song for your Rotary Club event. I think it allows you to generate 3 songs per day in the free version, and you can generate loads of songs if you've got the paid version. And the songs it will generate are only 1 minute and 30 seconds with the free version. It will generate 3-minute plus songs with the paid version. Anyway, so I actually have a paid version because I really like Suno. It's a fabulous tool. I think you can see my screen right now. So in my prompt here, I want to create a fun, catchy pop rock song about Rotary Club members around the world learning to use AI to make an impact in the world. Okay, so hopefully it will work. So I'm going to click create here, and it's now generating the song in real time. We'll see how quickly it does it. I may have to keep talking a little bit in order to give it enough time.
Do we need software to put all this together, though, to match all the three sections?
To make the music video, no, you can use 4 different AIs. In order, you use a video editing AI, you use the song creation AI, use the image generation AI, and use the video generation AI. and use them all together. Obviously, using the paid versions of each of them, it just is much higher quality, and you can do more and more. But they all have free versions where you can do some basic stuff with them. All right, so let's click on this to see what it's generated. All right, the song is called Rotary Revolution. It has generated a little artwork here, and around the globe, they gather round Rotary Club where hearts are found in every town, in every state, learning AI to shape their fate. Let's see how it sounds.
Around the globe they gather round Rotary Club where hearts are found in every town, in every state, learning AI to shape their fate. From cities bright to countryside.
There you go. I get chills because AI has come so far to be able to do things like that, and it's amazing what they've fed into all of the wonderful songs and music that this AI has scoured through in order to put together the beats and the musical background. And you can have it generate songs in different languages. So if you want it in Cantonese, you create it in whatever language you want, and also with any style. So if you want it operatic or heavy metal or whatever music you're into, just put it in and it will create it. I love stuff like this because my mind just goes wow. So I'm getting my kids have a competition at the moment to create the first music video, and we'll see which one of them wins.
Andy, could you go through how you actually do the music video? So we've done the Suno and we've got the song, and then what are the other steps and what are the other programs?
Yes, absolutely. Suno.com. So you made your song. You can then use an image generator. So there's lots of different image generators. Midjourney is a super famous one. I know that that Helen loves and is fabulous. The quality of the images is crazy high. Microsoft.designer.com is also really, really good. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some of the lyrics from the song, copy and paste them into an image generator. And I would do this a couple of times until you've generated the images that you really like, that you go, you know what, that really fits. And you might also edit the prompt a little bit to kind of go, you know what I really want? I want to have a group of Rotarians dancing, and I want to have the Rotary Club logo in the background. And so you add that into the prompt to make it exactly what you want it to be. So you're then going to generate 50 images, however many images that you need for this song. You're then going to drop these images into lumalabs.ai, which will then convert the image into a short video. So it will essentially animate the image that you give it, and you also give it a prompt as well as to what kind of video you'd like to see. And it will then generate a video. It does take quite a long time. lumalabs.ai is absolutely overwhelmed with people generating videos at the moment. So if you really want to do it quickly, I would say get a paid version, because then it'll be much faster. And you also have unlimited videos that you can create. Once you've got all those videos, you can use any video editing software. iMovie or Movie Maker is the Microsoft one. And there are also AI video editors as well. You can just jump online and find one of those, and then drop in the videos into step by step, and then put the music as the audio. Because you can download the audio from Suno. To have copyright of the music, you do need a paid account with Suno. and it's 10, I believe it's $10 a month for a paid account, which you might want to share amongst other Rotarians, so you can all use it together. And that would be how you generate a music video. What I want to do now is give you a chance to go back into your breakout rooms and to just share with another couple of people in the breakout room what are some of the ideas that have been spawned for you as to how you might use AI in your Rotary Club in future.
I'm impressed by the presentation, and thank you so much for the presentation. And the potential of AI is really broad. Generally, I am in Uganda, and the potential of AI, I would imagine how it could help us in my Rotary Club of first aid and emergency care response. If you can imagine what we do, and I would like to, I call it customized maybe sessions for young children in school, to teach, maybe deliver sessions of first aid or emergency care. I'm really looking forward to that. So I would like to see how best I can use AI for that, and an application that can help us generate images or videos that can be good as learning materials for really below 15 years old children in schools, that we can help teach first aid and emergency care. Thank you.
Brilliant. That's such a good idea, to get AI. So the instant thought that I had was, if you come across somebody who is suffering somehow and you are able to take a photo, send it to AI and just ask, what do you recommend in terms of first aid response, that it almost certainly would do a really good job at that. The capabilities are improving in terms of you can upload video and have it give you feedback. So obviously videoing somebody who, if you really aren't sure what the immediate first aid requirements are. But one thing that you can do with AI is you can tell it who you want it to act as. So you could say, and you can create your own AI bots. So for example, you could generate a first aid teacher bot, and you give the AI the instruction, act as the world's leading expert in first aid, who is going to explain first aid procedures to children between the age of 10 and 15 in Uganda. And it will then generate responses based on those parameters. And you can then have that bot as part of your toolkit, as part of the ChatGPT toolkit. So you can create all these different bots for different purposes. One thing that I have recommended to people in the past is to create what I call a context prompt. And so this is what I've done is, so in a Word document I have on my desktop is I am a 46-year-old corporate trainer living in Kingston upon Thames. I'm male. I give lots of background, lots of context, and then I ask it to deliver a certain task. And I find it uses more British English. It gives answers that are more relevant to somebody my age, my gender, and my location. And so obviously there are some concerns about privacy there, and that's why I use a paid version in order to give that context prompt to, so it's sandboxed. But I find the quality of the answers are much, much higher when I give it a lot more detail about who I am and what I need and what I'm looking for and my background.
How can we engage with AI, and how we can be a part of your ChatGPT?
So recently with our Interact Club, I'm one of the advisors, and I decided, just as a bit of a game, that I would get groups in the Interact Club to generate an Interact Club song using Suno. And so each of the groups brainstormed a prompt, and they said things like, we want a fun rock song about the Interact Club of the Kingston Academy, which includes, and they put in people's names of the Interact Club members, and then each group created a song, and we had a competition as to who could create the best song. And it was really fun. And it was just a really simple way to teach people how to use the song AI, but also really nicely related to Rotary as well.
Just to put someone on the spot, I thought I'd ask Mohammed, how do you think, have you been using AI in Mombasa, Kenya, or if you haven't, how do you think you might use it in the future with some of the volunteering that you're doing?
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Mohammed Omenda. I'm from Kenya. I'm a student at Pwani University. I'm part of the Rotary Club of Pwani University. So AI, it's not new to me as a student, because we use it for research, and it's a very important aspect of learning for students like me, especially those who are engaging in research. So I think it's been a very useful tool. And I didn't, like I was sharing with Dr. Edwin, I didn't expect, or I didn't anticipate that we can use AI to other areas of life. Like I only thought that we can only use it with the research alone. But today I've learned that we can extend it to other aspects of life. So I think, for example, I was working on a profile for an organization. So I am going to use AI. It was a bit hectic to come up with the idea and how to do it. But with what I've learned today, I think I'm going to apply it, and it's going to make my work easier.
Brilliant. Thank you.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for joining the pilot community VVE, and also to thank Andy for giving us such a good sharing to talk about more uses of AI. Thank you very much, everybody.